should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3. Lovely.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Maastricht Edition live on Facebook. Tonight we have with us the lovely Sven and Cayle, and they're going to be telling us all about things beery in their new venture. And we have our usual fun and games with This Day in History, Matt Goes Dutch, and Tracy's Tidbits. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yay! Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Maastricht Edition. Here we are again.
We're back.
We certainly are. And yes, it's very exciting because the guys that are going to be coming on as our guests this evening, it's a brand new venture called the Loft, and they have got, get this, over 60 craft beers going on in this place. And they've got lots of scrumptious food. So, yeah, myself, Matt and Tracy, very, very excited about this. I can imagine as soon as you say 60 craft beers, Tracy, you're just going to be queuing up.
Well, I have to tell you, I actually think it's 68 craft beers that they have available, which is quite something. I do like a craft beer, I must say. And I know several years ago in Ireland, this really took off, particularly big in Ireland for some reason. But I know now here around, there's a lot of other breweries who are involved in this craft beer making and also involved in collaborations with bigger breweries. So it's a very exciting time. I just wish the boys had provided us with a couple of beers to drink on the show.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because before, when we were in the studio, our lovely guests often would wander in with something to drink, something to eat, which is probably why we were always promoting restaurants and bars. But that's a little tricky at the moment with us being online. But yes, we're still supporting the local community by drinking certain tipples from the local area. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Sláinte.
So, how's your week been, boys and girls?
Oh, as Matt pauses, that doesn't sound good.
Okay, Matt, come on. That's not a happy chappy there. What's up, Matt?
I haven't really done very much, to be honest. I went. I did a cycle ride.
Oh, nice.
And got lost a few times.
Oh.
And got rained on. But it was a nice trip, and in the end we went to this local fruit farm that has really delicious strawberries and blueberries, so it was worth it in the end.
Ooh, very nice. I like a blueberry.
Yes, big fan of the blueberry. I have a little blueberry plant in my garden that is in a big pot at the moment. My plan is to move it into garden properly. Don't know where that's going to be because I'm supposed to be redoing stuff in the garden that just hasn't happened. So for the moment it stays in the pot, but I've got a grand total of about 10 blueberries. I mean, come on.
Oh, I can top that. We've got 12 tomatoes on our plant right now.
Oh, say.
Oh, and very exciting, Matthew, I was inspired by you and I've cultivated one of those pancake plants.
Oh, yeah.
And he's growing his roots. So very exciting. So I'm hoping the little baby one we can plant in his own pot very soon.
Ours is very protected.
Really?
Yeah, I gave Joe one of my babies from my own pancake plant. And I'm sure you will soon also have babies, Joe, because mine has 3 more already. So.
Wow.
Oh, my ovaries are doing somersaults as you speak. My dead ovaries.
Oh God.
But no, it's doing very well. It's sitting on the windowsill. It seems to be quite happy there. And so I've got babies coming. Oh well, that'll be news to my husband. He'll oh dear.
That'll be fun. I'd like to be there for that conversation. But but it's very satisfying when you cultivate one and it actually starts growing in the little jar, and then you think it's very cool.
It's very cool. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what else is very cool. Coming up later on in the show, we've got Matt's Going Dutch, we've got This Day in History, we've got Tracy doing her titty bitties that she does so well. But we're also going to be discussing that. You know how we like to do these awareness days. So it turns out today is International Elephant Day. So that's we all love an elephant. And I know some of us like a big trunk, don't we, Matt? So we're celebrating, yes, we do. We're celebrating the elephant by Tracy showing you a picture of a mum and her baby elephant.
Yes,
It doesn't get any more high tech than that.
Well, there you go. Look, this is from the IFAW, and indeed, World Elephant Day today, every year on the 12th of August. And this day asks you to help conserve and protect these animals, which are under threat from numerous sources, very sadly. So,
Yes.
but good to know. In the recent weeks and months, we've been hearing that many circuses and so on are stopping now with elephants and shows and things like that. But still a long way to go, these poor things. So being hunted for tusks and ivory and all this sort of nasty stuff. So today, indeed, sending out some love and hearts and big trunk cuddles to the elephants.
A trunk cuddle?
Yes.
Oh, that's a whole new website.
Patent pending.
Trunkcuddle.com. Yeah, okay, we'll be Googling that one later. Just to think what sort of pictures we'll be getting up with that one. But also tomorrow is International Left-Handers Day. Now, this is this is a thing, of course. Now, I'm going to ask Matt and Tracy, are you left or right-handed?
Right.
Right-handed.
You're right-handed. I'm right-handed too. But it turns out, actually, there's quite a lot of people. There's around about 10% of the population are actually left-handed. And if your mum and dad are both left-handed, you've got 26% chance of being left-handed yourself.
Okay, right.
There you go. And I've got loads of myths and facts and figures and all kinds of stuff going on here for you to soak up. So apparently, here's a myth: you're more likely to have allergies if you're left-handed.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been some very dodgy research on this. You're more prone to migraines compared to right-handed people.
Okay.
It's you're more likely to be an alcoholic.
Wow. Okay, where did you get these facts from, Joe?
Well, they're not actually facts, really. These are more myths, because it turned out that in 1973 there was a paper by a psychologist called Paul Buchan who noted that there was a higher than expected number of patients in an alcoholism ward that were left-handed. However, a later study in 2011, who was looking at 25,000 people from 12 different countries, found that being a lefty didn't actually result in excessive drinking later in life at all. So left-handed people are more prone to drink at moderate levels than a right-handed person. As a Brit, I'm not quite sure what a moderate level is. Yeah, it's all a bit odd. So this paper was, original paper was a few patients in a ward. So we're only talking probably about 10 people. And then all of a sudden the myth was, oh, you're more likely to be an alcoholic if you're a left-handed person.
Crumbs.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
A bit odd. Apparently you're more likely to suffer from language problems if you're left-handed. Again, this was debunked later on. All of these things, and of course, of the internet, this has been rife all over the internet. All these things. This is all like clickbait, of course. If you're a lefty, now there is one thing actually that's true. You're more likely to be male. 23% more men are left-handed, actually. So that's actually true. You live on. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I actually know 3 people personally who are left-handed. 1 is a male and 2 are female. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay. 39% are more likely to be homosexual.
Are we still on myths?
Yes. Yes, you'll be pleased to know we're still on myths. But here's some facts for you. There are actually left-handed pens. You can buy it. Yes, and it's got it's got a bent end. So
I didn't realize it made a difference.
Well, yes, because if you're left-handed and you're writing from left to right, obviously your left hand has to be a bit twisted. Yeah, so they've bent the end of the pen for left-handed people to make it easier to write with, apparently.
Well, I guess it's because you would sort of go across the page where you're writing and smudge, I suppose. So
yes. So if there's any lefties out there, and do let us know if you're a lefty. What are the advantages or disadvantages? Apparently, there are advantages in certain sports being a lefty, but that's obviously tennis. Yes. There you go. There's quite a few lefties in tennis that are doing well. So obviously, because especially with serving, of course, that you can go across the court when you're serving at a completely different angle. So yeah, that's useful. So if you're a lefty, take up tennis. You may be playing at Wimbledon before you know it. Now here's the thing. According to a 2014 study, left-handed people mainly draw characters facing to the right, and right-handed people draw them facing to the left.
Okay.
So without even knowing it, you're probably doing this.
When I was at school, my friend broke his right arm, and I did this fact. I don't know if it's a fact somewhere, that if you are right-handed and you start using your left hand, then you kill your brain cells. So I told him this, and he was like, and then told the teacher, and used it as an excuse to not write anything or do any work.
Well,
great.
But for many years, left-handed people were forced to do things with their right hand because there was a stigma about being a left-handed person. And actually, there are some people who are scared of left-handedness, and it's called sinistrophobia. Try again. Sinistrophobia. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a fear of things on the left side or left-handed people.
Well, yeah, it comes, I think, also from sinister, of course, and in Italian, sinistra, left. And traditionally, if you're into that, things on the left side of the body were considered to be, you know, the work of the devil and evil and scary and that kind of thing. So there's probably some connection back. But indeed, back in my mother's day in school, there was a kid in her class who was left-handed, and he was made to do everything with his right hand because I think the Catholic Church saw it as not a good thing, perhaps, but very.
Well, let's not get on to that. But we do have some interesting stuff coming through here. Adam's saying that his mum and brother are lefties, and that they've had a lifetime of problems with scissors, for example.
Oh, yes.
But of course, you can get left-handed scissors, I think, these days. He also has an interesting fact for us, a tennis fact. Rafa Nadal isn't a natural lefty. His tennis coach forced him to use it, so he would effectively have two forehands.
Makes sense.
That's worked out quite well for him. Jason's in the house. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
How are you? So here's the question. In the Arabic world, many read or write from right to left. Are lefties celebrated for their smudge-free writing ability in this context? That's an interesting point.
Indeedy.
Indeed. So let's hear from anybody out there in the Arabic world who read and write from right to left. It must be easier then if you're left-handed to be able to write that way. Before we wrap this up, I just wanted to tell you there are typing advantages if you're left-handed. On a QWERTY keyboard, there are over 3,000 English words typed solely with the left hand, whilst on the other side there's only 300 with the right hand alone.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. As long as you're typing English, of course. I mean, if you're typing another language, then that might be a bit different. But in English, 3,000 with your left, 300 with your right.
Oh, there you go.
So there you are. So any other lefties out there, get in touch. Let us know the pros, the cons, what's good, what's bad. And I think we probably should move on to a little album review.
Yes, I think it's time. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, as of course, this time of the week, we always ask Matt to give us his review of an album that we've given him. And last week it was my turn to give an album to Matt from the 1980s. Oh, I've decided to give him Frankie Goes to Hollywood's debut album, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, which caused an awful lot of fuss at
Quite
the
some
time.
drama.
Oh my goodness, drama everywhere. So, Matt, this is taking you back to rah-rah skirts, fingerless gloves, and humongous white t-shirts with relax all over the front. What did you think of the album?
I thought it was quite well. I think I knew what to expect. I know the relaxed song, and it was quite a relaxed album. It was I don't know. I think it was a lot more instrumental than I realized. There was in the end there wasn't actually that much singing. I think there was a lot of instrumental parts in the songs. I thought it was quite interesting because it was sort of like, I don't know, I suppose it's electronic maybe music.
Yeah.
Like lots of, I don't know, synthetic sounds.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite interesting, but I also looked into like why it was banned, and I looked at the lyrics of the song and I was like, you sort of see where it was going, but you could argue it's not. And like, because the controversy, if you don't know, listeners, is that it was the relaxed song was all about having sex, and the lyrics are very suggestive. I suppose, yeah, it could be read that way if you have a filthy mind. But yeah, no, I'm sure they are. That's what the song is about. But it was quite interesting to read that, like, that when it was released, it was like number 67 in the charts or something, and then made its way up to the 34 or something, and then it was on top of the pops. And everyone liked it, and it got to number 6, and then the BBC banned it, and then it became number 1 and number 2, and it was like sold like 2 million 2 million records, like single, which is like one of the biggest sales ever of a single still, which is crazy. So yeah, that was quite interesting. And then eventually the BBC was really embarrassed about it because it just meant the song got more and more popular because it banned it.
Yeah.
And in the end, it was played live on Top of the Pops on the Christmas show. So quite a climb down in the end, really. But yeah, no, I thought it was an interesting album. Quite good, relaxed songs.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of political stuff going on as well at the time, and I think they were just. It was definitely, the early 80s where people were just pushing boundaries a lot more politically about what they wore, what they said, and the music and movies and everything at that time. So people were just pushing things that little bit, and this was definitely one of those albums, I would say. It's definitely of its era. And of course, compared to today, it's very tame. But at the time, yes, there was, as Tracy said, there was a lot of drama. But I fell in love with Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and well, probably because of the drama, I thought, oh, this is great. They're just going for it. And then the likes of Boy George came along, and I was like, yes, it's a guy dressed as a woman. I love it. This is brilliant. And yeah, that whole era, there was just lots of controversy all over the place, which got me excited anyway. So,
right.
So I assume you were sort of toe tapping around the kitchen while you were cooking, listening to this one.
I was not, because it stinks downstairs because my floor's being redone, so it stinks of polish or whatever. So I was just playing a game on my laptop in my bed.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. So, is it something that you'd be listening to again, do you think?
If it was on, sure, I wouldn't turn it over, but I don't think I'd go and explore it further. No.
Okay. I'll tell you one thing I will definitely say before you give us your maths out of 10. If you get the opportunity, look at the video of Relax. So there's different versions of the video. There's the edited version, but if you can get the full unedited version, they did go for it. That's for sure. Okay. It's good fun, and you will definitely see it's of its time. So how many maths out of 10 did you give it, Matt?
Well, I decided to give it an 8.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, that's good, Tracy.
I was expecting lower given the feedback, but there you go.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Oh, well, I'm happy with the 8. I'll take that. That's good. So this means, of course, that it's now Tracy's turn to pick an album for match review for next week. What have you got for us, Trace?
Well, now, we started doing these album reviews with our Matthew at the end of September 2020.
Really?
It was. Not a lot of people know that. My first choice of album for Matthew was way back on the 5th of October last year. And I chose for Matthew an album from the Counting Crows, August and Everything After, which I recall Matthew quite liked. Now, I'm a big fan of the Counting Crows, and they have many, many albums. So I thought, given the title of this album, and given we're in the middle of this Meteor shower at the moment, I've chosen an album again from the Counting Crows for you, and it's called Recovering the Satellites. So there you go. It is this album, little green cover, and it has a couple of my most favorite songs from the Counting Crows, including Angels of the Silence and A Long December, which is a very lovely song. So it's still, same kind of style. The last one you really liked, I believe you gave it a 9 out of 10. So let's see if you enjoyed. It's again got some rocky songs. It's got some almost poetic songs. I'm a huge fan of this band. So let's see if Recovering the Satellites is a hit for you as well. So that's my choice for next week.
I see. She's gone for the double whammy here, Matt. She's got another Countess Crow album. She's trying to bring you over to the dark side.
Well, we shall see.
Have a listen and see.
Excellent. So that's Matt's album for next week. So tune in next Thursday to see what Matt thinks of the Counting Crows. Eric's just been asking us, following on from using the QWERTY keyboard for a left-handy or for a right-handy. How about in Welsh? Now, of course, Matt, hopefully you should know this, being a Welshman, but there is predominantly not many vowels, I would say, in Welsh. It's all consonants. So I don't know how, I don't know. Have you ever typed in Welsh? How is your Welsh?
Non-existent.
Oh, okay. Well, that didn't work then, did it?
No, but you write it the same way, and I don't know, I've never typed. I'm not sure if you can get a Welsh keyboard. No idea.
I don't know. Well, there must be. Surely there must be a Welsh keyboard. Is there a Welsh keyboard? This is the question. Any Welsh people out there with a Welsh keyboard? We would like to know. But the alphabet is exactly the same in Welsh, isn't it? There isn't a different alphabet. Or is there?
There's a different, because double L is one letter, I think.
I didn't know that. Did you, Tracy? I
did not know that.
I think, anyway, I'm not sure.
You learned so many interesting things on the Maastricht Edition. Well, coming up after the news later, we're going to be learning all about the Loft and the ridiculous amount of beers that they have to drink there. I mean, obviously, this is heavenly, this place. You could have a different beer every week by the sounds of it. We're going to find out so much more about this and the wonderful food that they're going to be serving there. But before we get there, it's time, I think, to relax, to chill, for the whole of Maastricht, nay, the Netherlands.
Good job, Matthew. You see what he did there?
Yeah, relax. I did. I was trying to ignore it.
Let's do this day in history in the style of Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Matthew.
Oh, God.
Oh, goodness. This is one for YouTube. Definitely. This is going to go viral. I can see it coming. So as the whole of Maastricht comes to a grinding halt, puts their feet up and relaxes with a nice little glass of craft beer, possibly, it is time for This Day in History.
I really wasn't sure how to do that.
Relax, don't do it. This day in history, do it, do.
Yeah,
something like, never mind, let's get on with it.
Oh, that really worked. Today, it is Thursday, the 12th of August, 2021. And on this very day, we're going back a long way. In 1492, on this day, Christopher Columbus arrives in the Canary Islands on his first voyage to the New World. I'm sure it was a lovely visit, and a little bit of tapas sitting on the beach there, a little glass of mead. I'm sure it was lovely. On this day in 1658, the first American police force forms in New Amsterdam, which of course, Matt, became
New York.
Yay! We learnt that from Matt a little while ago.
Well, I actually did already know that, but not to worry. I may be blonde, but
I'm sorry, Matt.
Joe, honestly.
In 1851, on this very day, the American inventor Isaac Singer patents the sewing machine. And we're very grateful we are too. They're still going to this day, of course, the Singer sewing machines. A few years later, in 1856, Anthony Fuss of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is granted a second patent for improvements to the accordion. Now, I don't know what was wrong with the first accordion, but apparently it needed to be improved. Listening to accordions these days, there's probably room for more improvements, but that's just me. Anybody ever tried to play the accordion?
My uncle plays the accordion and plays it very well, I might say.
Does he really?
Yes, he does. He gets a little kind of Irishy jig tune that gets everybody out on the dance floor. So I think it depends who's playing, to be honest with you.
It probably does, doesn't it? But I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Tracy, but the Irish do like an accordion.
Well, yes, it is one of the instruments that you'd often find for a little bit of traditional Cayle music, along with the fiddle, the tin whistle, the bodhrán, of course. So it's not uncommon to find an accordion thrown in there as well.
There you go. Okay. I don't fancy it myself. It looks a bit complicated.
It does. There's a lot of. It's like the bagpipes in a way, isn't it?
It's a bit of patting your head, rubbing your belly kind of thing going on for me. And it would just confuse the hell out of me. On this day in 1877, Thomas Edison completes the first model for the phonograph, a device that recorded sound onto tinfoil cylinders. And in 1908, on the 12th of August, Henry Ford's company builds the first Model T car.
Oh, I like a Model T.
Do you like a Model T?
If I had a speedster, I think it would probably be a Model T.
Oh, really?
Ooh, fancy. They're just so kind of cute and compact, aren't they? But I must say, if I had the choice, I'd probably go for an old style Mini Cooper first. I love them. They're for me like puppies. Every time I see an old style Mini Cooper, I'm like, oh.
I like the old style VW campers with the split screen.
Oh yeah, and they're so
expensive now.
So expensive. I know, and back in the day they were kind of, just kind of one you drove around in to go surfing in or whatever. And nowadays they're really like a status
collector's items.
Yeah.
In 1923, on this very day, Enrico Tiraboshi is the first to swim the English Channel westward. Hold on. Depends. I don't know which way you're looking at me, but it's one of those directions anyway. In 1928, on this very day, the 9th Summer Olympic Games closed in Amsterdam. And in 1930, Clarence Birdseye is granted a patent for the method for quick freezing food.
Wow.
Fish fingers. There you go. There you go. I remember eating fish fingers as a kid, but I haven't touched them since.
Oh, I like a fish finger sandwich.
Do you now?
A fish finger sandwich is a thing to be enjoyed.
With some mayo. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd just like to point out to our listeners that is not a euphemism for something else. In 1953, on this very day, Anne Davison arrives in Miami in her 23-foot boat, Felicity Ann, becoming the first woman to sail solo across the Atlantic. That's quite a thing. In 1953, I mean, the technology of the boats then, even today, I wouldn't want to do anything like that. That's heavy going. But in those days, no. 1955, the US President Eisenhower raises minimum wage from 75 cents to $1 an hour. That's just, it's nothing. I mean, but it was 1955. But I should have actually found out what the equivalent was today. It probably isn't that much more, to be fair. In 1981, the IBM introduces its first personal computer. And in 1991, the heavy metal band Metallica released their 5th album. Now, that just goes to show how long Metallica have been around. That was 1991. And of course, for those of you who may not be in the know, Metallica will be here next year at Pink Pop. Yay!
Hurrah! Like Metallica.
We do like Metallica. And finally, on this day in 2008, American super swimmer Michael Phelps wins his third of 8 gold medals at the Beijing Olympics. When he takes the 200-meter freestyle in the world record of 1.96 seconds. I mean, honestly.
Impressive. Indeed. I missed the Olympics, actually. It was really nice the last couple of weeks, and now we don't have any. Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it, and I've really enjoyed the new sports that they brought in. The skateboarding, the BMX biking, the wall climbing. It's been really fun.
Yeah, it has really been fun.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Right, quickly, a roundup of birthdays. On this day in 1881, Cecil B. DeMille, the American filmmaker, was born. 1949, Mark Knopfler, the British singer-songwriter and guitarist from Dire Straits. 1950, Kid Creole, without his coconuts, was born in the Bronx, New York. And in 1971, Pete Sampras, one of my favourite tennis players, was born in Washington, D.C. Happy birthday to everybody. And a quick mention from everybody here at the Maastricht Edition, happy birthday to Katarina Kand, who will also be joining us on the show in a few weeks' time. Happy birthday to one and all.
Katarina.
Happy birthday. Hope you're having a lovely time, whatever it is that you're doing. And that was this day in history. Thank you very much. So coming up in a few minutes, we're going to have the boys from the Loft joining us.
We are.
But before we get there, I think it's probably time for a bit of news. What do you think, Tracy?
Let's give it a try.
Tracy Taylor with the news.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's August 12th, and you're watching the Maastricht Edition on Facebook Live. First, a look at your weekend weather, and things will remain dry and bright for the coming days with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. Temperatures will reach 24 degrees. As of Monday, however, some rain showers are expected. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight. The Dutch cabinet would hold a press conference tomorrow to announce the measures around coronavirus for the coming period. However, various experts worry that relaxing measures now in the middle of summer vacation may be a mistake. The number of coronavirus infections in the Netherlands is decreasing, but still relatively high, with 210 people in the ICU yesterday. Currently, 84.3% of adults in the Netherlands have had at least one coronavirus jab, which puts the country in 8th place in Europe. Iceland is top of this list with 91.2% of its population vaccinated. Groningen, Friesland, Drenthe and Zeeland have now been downgraded to amber on the coronavirus map, although the rest of the Netherlands still remains code red. And Germany will end free coronavirus tests in October in a push to incentivize more people to get vaccinated. COVID-19 tests or proof of vaccination or recovery will be required to access facilities, including restaurants, cinemas and gyms. From October, those who refuse to get jabbed will have to pay to prove they are infection-free. An online scam which involved the sale of protective items against COVID-19 has been uncovered following an operation involving Eurojust, the European Agency for Police Corruption. It said the scam was run by an organized crime group and involved selling materials such as face coverings. The scheme involved compromised emails and advanced payment fraud. Searches took place in Ireland, Romania and the Netherlands. Companies in at least 20 countries have been defrauded by around 1 million euros. The European Union's top diplomat has called on the world's biggest economies to set tougher climate targets, including a commitment to eliminate greenhouse gas emissions in time for a global climate summit in November. At the start of this week, a UN report outlined the seriousness of global warming. Wildfires and floods are already causing devastation. In other news, making payments with a smartphone or smartwatch has become increasingly popular in the Netherlands and is now used more often than paying with your PIN pass. The new payment methods were boosted by Dutch banks who embraced Apple Pay and Google Pay. And between 1 and 1.5 million people became pet owners in the Netherlands during the coronavirus pandemic, but many animals have since been dumped. Corona pets, as they have been called, have simply been abandoned in the wild or left at shelters. Moving to local news, and carnival associations in Limburg do not agree with an obliged vaccination for Carnival 2022. However, they will start a campaign calling on carnival goers to get vaccinated. In just under 3 months, it will be the 11th of the 11th and the annual kickoff of the carnival season. It is still unclear what that season will look like in Limburg. And finally tonight, it's that time of year again when the Perseid's meteor shower will reach its peak as the Earth passes through the stream of debris left by the comet Swift-Tuckle. The shower is known as Perseids because the meteors seem to originate from the constellation of Perseus. The meteor shower is easily visible across the entire northern hemisphere and will be at its peak from 3 to 4:30 a.m. Your best chance of seeing the meteors is to find a clear view of the sky in an area with no light pollution. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts, and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to maastrichter.com. If a historical walking tour is more your thing, check out Meet Maastricht, the key to your city. And finally, don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Redbubble, and on Instagram. Up next, we're chatting with Sven and Cayle from the Loft, Maastricht.
Yay! Nicely done now, Tracy.
Thank
Very
you.
exciting about the meteor shower.
I know. I mean, oh gosh, I'm very tempted to get up at like 3 o'clock this morning and have a look. But here in the middle of Maastricht, I fear the light pollution will still be a little bit too much, but very exciting.
Do you know what the forecast will be? Will it be clear?
Well, apparently the forecast will be sort of favourable for seeing the meteor shower. So there is maybe a reason to give it a try.
It'll be very annoying to get up at 3 o'clock and it's all cloud.
Cloudy, indeed. Yeah, it's supposed to be a relatively clear night. And apparently, if you don't get a chance to see tonight, Friday and Saturday will also offer some opportunities to catch sight of this phenomenon. So let's see.
Well, of course, as everybody knows, I will be up at 3 o'clock in the morning having a hot flush. So I will be able to see this meteor shower with any luck, as long as we have clear sky. So yes, there's something to look forward to in the early hours of the
There you go.
But it's now time to get the boys on from the Loft. Let's get them onto the show. They've got lots to tell us. Let's find out if they're actually going to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching a meteor shower.
Oh,
Hello, Cayle and Sven. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome to the show. Are you meteor shower people?
No.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're beer people.
They
people.
are beer people, yes, exactly.
Precisely.
So we're going to move on from the meteor shower. That conversation is going nowhere, but the boys are here to talk about the Loft. It's lovely to have you on the show. You're so very welcome to
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's lovely. We love a new venture, and we love a new venture that involves an awful lot of beer. But before we get to the beer side of things, let's find out about you two guys, because I believe there's actually 3 of you involved in this project. Maybe you could give us a bit of background as to, who you are, where you come from, how did this all start?
Sure, yeah. My name's Cayle Acton. I'm originally from Canada. And of course, Sven Van Oort, the charming, I think, as you put it, Sven Van Oort. And,
it's the beard that makes him charming.
So cuddly.
Yeah.
And we have Philippe Peters as well. He's the third man in our group. So both Sven and Philippe are from the Netherlands. Philippe is from a town just south of Maastricht, IJsden. So we do have a nice mix of guys, both expat, myself, and also one Limburg guy and another Dutch guy. So that's always good. But yeah, how we came about this idea. I've been working in craft beer and in this kind of sector for a number of years since I came to Maastricht, and I had this idea to make kind of a bar with this self-tap system and all these craft beers from all over the world. And I met Sven through earlier craft beer adventures.
Say no more. That's for another show.
Yeah. And Philippe is a good friend of mine. Philippe and I are both DJs, so we've kind of traveled the world a bit together. Philippe was on a bit of a tour around Asia and stuff, and I was there in tow to support him. And when he got too tired, I could push the buttons too. So that's always
teamwork. This is good.
Exactly. So we have a really strong team. Sven, of course, comes out of the Michelin restaurant world, so he has an excellent level of service. I'm, of course, more craft beer side. I've also run the business that used to be in this establishment a few years ago. I was the general manager. And then, Philippe is our financial guy, our marketing guy, the guy more in the background. That's getting, crossing the T's, dotting the I's kind of thing. He works really hard, even though you don't see him. So
well, from an experience perspective, it sounds like a really good mix. But when you start talking about bringing in so many beers from all over the world, that's quite ambitious. So how do you make that work?
Well, of course, you need to have a good technical build. So for us, we actually installed a large fridge right in the middle of the building just to put all the beer in it.
We have a fridge like that. I can't imagine it's as big as yours.
I don't think so. I definitely don't think so. But also for us, it was to create a place where we could put the taps, and you would get the tap directly into the keg almost. It's probably about a meter from where the beer comes out of the tap to the top of the keg, which is pretty short.
Pretty cool indeed, because craft beer is quite the thing now, isn't it? And it's wonderful to have this in Maastricht. I have a question. You're speaking about craft beers from all over the world. As an Irish person, do you have any craft beers from fair old Ireland?
We will probably. So there are a couple of breweries that we've worked with before. Kinnegger is one of them. They're out of Ireland. Of course, we do have a Guinness tap upstairs.
Of course. When are you guys open? I'm going now. I haven't been to Ireland for a really long time, so having a decent Guinness is really a necessity at this point. So
completely understandable. But we have two different levels.
Oh, I think we're frozen.
Maybe it was my bell, sorry.
We heard a bell in the background and the boys are frozen.
It's all this talk of Guinness. It's just, look at this. Oh no, they have completely frozen, I think.
Okay, let's, no, they're back. They're back.
We're back. Don't know, we lost connection for a second there. But anyway,
yes.
What I was saying, when you come in, we've got the two different levels. So when we first come in, we have the ground floor. That is the bar, the cafe. We have the self-tap system there with 50 taps. You choose yourself, you pour. So
hold on. You literally take your own glass and pour it yourself.
Yeah. So you have to get a little pass.
No. There's no British people allowed in. That's how it works.
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay. Well, apart from the fact that this is going to just drive people nuts that they can go and just pour their own beer, there is a skill to pouring a beer.
Of course. And the best thing is we not only have staff that are all trained in the first level of the Cicerone beer sommelier training program. So there's 4 levels. Starts with a certified beer server, and the second level is you will become a beer sommelier, certified Cicerone, and you have advanced Cicerone and master Cicerone. So when you're a master Cicerone, you're a master of everything, of beer.
Wow.
But everyone that works here is going to be trained in at least certified beer server. So we have everyone there on hand to help anybody who hasn't tapped the beer before, that is having problems, that needs help selecting the beer. And not only does that stop at beer, that'll also help with, I want something to eat with this beer, or vice versa. I have a food, what do I drink with this? So we actually have a lot of experience to look both ways.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a whole culinary experience, really.
Yeah, for us, it's more important to have the service alongside the product, not just a big selection of beer and go have fun. Yeah, that's of course you can do that, but we want to have a more enriching experience. And experience, I think, is the correct word.
Oh, absolutely. This sounds great fun. I can imagine, though, there are going to be some people where this is going to be an absolute disaster watching them actually trying to pour a beer. So I hope there's going to be a camera somewhere there, because this has got YouTube written all over it. There's going to be like the bloopers of the evening. But what I think is that it's a fantastic idea. This that you know, you're going to have all of these to choose from. It's like a kid in a sweet shop kind of for grown-ups, I think.
Yeah, of course, and we're trying to have everything on offer. So in total, we'll have 68 taps in the building, because on the restaurant level, which is the level above, we have a full-service restaurant. So you have a full bar, another 18 taps, you have a full cocktail station, espresso machine, and that'll be the level of Sven, where you can roam free. And
so there we can enjoy the food. And Sven, what sort of things are you going to put on this menu?
So what the thing is, for me, is important, the combination of like traditional but also like funky beers, and then we're gonna combine the beers with the dishes, or the dishes with the beers.
With the beers.
Yeah, we're gonna refine the menu. Like, for me, what's really important to make the combination with local and also international stuff. So yeah, we can do an international dish with local products, like a cave mushroom from Cannes or something like that, and then have beer with it. That's the fun. That's the fun part of our job, of course. So and that's going to be the basic thing, what we're going to thrive on the menu, find nice dishes, and then make the combination with the beer all the way around. And that's playground for me and my chef. So that's going to be fun.
Very exciting, and a very, very cool location where you guys are as well, right there on the Azelmarkt in the kind of middle of everything. So that's quite
the situation is very nice. Neighborhood is fantastic. That is really great. And then also between all the faculties of the university, that's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Indeed, cool.
Well, it's a lovely idea that you're going to be doing this combination of the food and the beer. But I wonder, how did you actually decide on what beers initially? Because you've got 68 beers to choose from, but let's be honest, there is a lot more in the world. So how do you go through the choosing process? Is it literally you sit around drinking these beers and go, oh, I like this one, oh, I'm not so sure about this would work well with fish? I mean, how does that work?
Well, there's a little bit of that.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah, a little bit every day. Put it that way. No, but of course, it's important for us to have this local connection while also having the international connection. So coming from the craft beer world, really important to have independent products, independent breweries, local breweries. So there are a few huge multinational corporations that own a large chunk of the beer breweries in the world. And we have decided to use any of those breweries. So it'll only be independent breweries. We do have quite a few local partners and that kind of stuff. So it's really nice to also support the small guys, because we are also the small guys right now.
Yeah, sure.
And also you have a more enriching experience, because you're not just another number or another client in the multinational's pocket. Mm-hmm. It's actually a first name basis, and it's much more rewarding, especially in craft beer. It's a much more close-knit community. Mm-hmm. So that plays a lot into our selection. And of course, by having so many taps, we will have 68 taps. Only 50 of those are beer, by the way. The other 18 on the self-tap, we have wine, premixed cocktails, hard seltzer, kombucha, cider, mead. So pretty much whatever drink that has alcohol in it, we generally have.
Mead, that's an interesting one, don't you think?
Yeah.
So actually, in the craft community, mead's becoming a much more popular thing.
I saw a program about this recently, actually. Yeah, it's becoming a bit trendy at the moment, which is interesting. Okay, so you've got the beer, you've got the food. You have somebody like myself walk in and say, do you know what? I don't like drinking beer with my food. But for me, at the same time, I'm thinking, well, what the hell am I doing here? I need to try this. So, because otherwise, well, I'm just going to stick to my normal wine. But I want to try this. How do you get somebody on board with this idea? Because for me, if I just drink a small beer, I'm full. I don't want to eat anything.
Right. The difference is, of course, we go back to that base level that we're going to have all employees have. But also another thing we've seen is when you're at a bar and you're face to face with someone, you feel rushed to make a decision. And a lot of people are like, I don't know this, my go-to. And then you're sitting there, you're like, yeah, it's nice, but yeah, I dropped the ball. I could have had that chance. The cool thing about the self-tap system is you have no time limit. It's you and whatever you want to do. Of course, if you're like, well, I'm overwhelmed, I have questions, we have helpful staff to your left and to your right.
Wow.
So it's really, really great. We have a welcome booth there that we have fully trained staff members that will walk you through the process with getting a pass, putting your money on the pass, how to use the system if it's your first time, but also they know everything about beer because they have that basic level. So they'll also be able to help you like, oh, well, this is cool and all, and now I know how to do it, but I don't know any of these beers because they're from all over the world and they're small breweries. Okay, well, what do you like? And what is your flavor and this kind of thing? And a lot of people, when they hear beer, they think Pilsner or lager. And that would be like me saying, oh, when I think of wine, I think of one kind of red that I had one time and I didn't like it, so now I don't like wine.
Sure.
Yeah.
You hear that a lot for beer. Oh, I don't like Pilsner, so I don't like beer. Well,
There's a lot more. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Sorry, Cayle. Speaking about the tapping and the cards, I noticed that you guys did a post today where you're offering this thing called a founder's card. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I know you're still promoting this for the last couple of days.
Yeah, I believe there's a crowdfunding thing connected with this, isn't there?
Yeah. So actually, we have some lovely cards here.
Okay.
Of course, we are doing this all ourselves. We are independent. We aren't owned by some big company. Of course, it would be silly if we were owned by a big company and then we weren't. We're only doing craft beer. But yeah, we are doing a bit of a crowdfunding to get us to that next level and make sure everything is perfect inside. And yeah, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to the crowdfunders that have already funded us. We would not have been able to get this far without them. So it's amazing support from the community and something we were just blown away by. We started the crowdfunding in May. Within 3.5 days on the first crowdfunding platform, we had gotten our goal.
Fantastic.
And now it's just blown away. And so we did launch a second wave because we're like, oh, a lot of people want this. We really need to make it perfect.
People need the beer.
To open and being like, yeah, that's duct taped and that is glued and it's okay. We really want to make sure that for everyone that comes here, it's the best experience possible. So with that being said, you can go to our website and we have links to our crowdfunding and all the information about our business, actually, what our concept is, where all three of us come from, our backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. So we're very open, very honest, and that's kind of also how we want our business to be. And yeah, it's just another kind of thing that we're offering. There's a lot of different platforms and levels people can crowdfund for. We have both a loan option, so you'll loan money and you get it back, or there's something like what you'd see a traditional crowdfund where you give money and you get stuff in return. So for example, things on your card, merchandise, private dinners, these kind of things.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Very exciting. And yeah, it's really exciting, of course, and we're really happy for all the support we've already gotten and the people that are still interested in supporting us. So yeah, like I said, we could definitely not have done it without all the support.
It is exciting.
Fantastic. It's really good. Guys, are you actually open right now? Are you?
Unfortunately not.
Right.
It was initially our plan to be open in August, but because of the certain restrictions that are here, and also there with the material shortages around the world, there have been a few delays in building. So now the new plan is, depending what happens tomorrow, we will be opening in September, whenever that may be. But for people who are really, really interested, when we open, follow us on our socials. We'll be posting all the information. So when we know what date sure in September, whether that's the 1st or the 10th or the 15th or whatever, we will be putting that out there for people to come and visit. Because of course we're also itching to open. It's been so long that we've been working on it. We really want to show it off properly. But of course, we want to do this.
Well, before we let you go, boys, I just want to put Sven on the spot here because, of course, these days we need to be having some really good vegetarian, really good vegan, really good gluten-free options, etc., etc. What can we look forward to?
Yeah, for me, what's really important is the connection between the dish and the beer. And if that connection is with a vegetarian dish, gluten-free dish, vegan dish, it needs to be there.
Okay.
So we're going to do the menu, of course, at the base with a normal vegetarian option, a fish option, and a meat option. But of course, we can make then the vegetarian option vegan. So that's something we need to do. But yeah, for us, it's the combination with that, with the beer and the dish. And then for us, it's not important what the dish is. Vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, no problem. Yeah, this is a time that needs to be. So
yeah, absolutely. So just remind us exactly where you're located.
So we're on Azelmarkt 15, which is right across from the Student Service Center for all the people that work at the university or former students. Right next to the Student Service Center on Azelmarkt, which is just around the corner from the Vrijthof.
Excellent. And if people want to come to visit you, do they have to make a booking?
It really depends. So once we open, if you're with a larger group, it is better to book. And also once we open for dinner, if you're looking for a dinner reservation, it might be smart to book. Yeah, knock on wood, we hope we're that busy once we open. But in terms of coming by and having a drink, you're always welcome. We do have quite a few seats downstairs. And yeah, of course, depending on Corona regulations, we see how many people we can get inside right away. But the idea is that from noon we should be open almost every day, and then people can come in, grab a drink, have a good time.
Brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We wish you all the luck in the world here from the Maastricht Edition. We love these new ventures, and of course we love lots of beer, so I'm sure it's going to be a roaring success. Along with Sven's food, it's going to be absolutely superb. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to put all of your information on our socials after the show, and I've no doubt whatsoever that there's going to be a Maastricht Edition soiree happening there at some point.
We look forward to it.
For sure. Thanks ever so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you guys too.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh wow! Doesn't that sound wonderful?
I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, there's the bell again.
Yeah, sorry, my bell is early.
Tracy, we can't hear you. Yep, you. We seem to have lost Tracy there. While she's, we'll carry on while she's fiddling around with that, because there's probably time for Matt to go Dutch anyway.
Oh, yes.
So Matt, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I read a very interesting article this week about this town in North Brabant called Baarle-Nassau.
Oh.
I'm not sure how you say it actually. Baarle-Nassau.
Okay.
And it's an interesting town because it is on the border with Belgium, and within the town there are little pockets of Belgium in the Netherlands, and vice versa. So there's little pockets of the Netherlands in Belgium. There's all one town. So it's all very confusing, and the border goes all the way through it. So there's little circles of each country.
Oh wow.
The border lines run through shops, they run through houses, it runs across the street. So there's plenty of opportunities if you want to have a photo spanning both borders in one. You can have lots of photo opportunities there.
Nice.
But it's very interesting because it means that people in the city can pay different tax rates depending on which border their front door is on. So if you want to pay a cheaper tax, it might be worth going, oh, maybe we should move where the front door is. And then depends on how it works. But apparently that's what people have been doing across the time this has been happening. So the town was created over hundreds of years with different lordships and different people owning bits of the land, which is why it's still quite a mess today. And then in 1815, the Netherlands and Belgium and Luxembourg became one kingdom after the Napoleonic Wars. So then it wasn't a problem because it was all one country, it's all one space, it didn't really matter. But then the Belgians decided, okay, we don't like being part of the Netherlands, we're going to revolt. So in 1830, the Belgians left the Kingdom of the Netherlands and formed their own country. So from that point on, it was very complicated because then you have these little pockets of Belgium in the Netherlands and little pockets of the Netherlands in Belgium. And then how does that work? Well, never quite worked it out because it's still happening today. It's still the situation. And of course, when there are different rules in the Netherlands and Belgium, it gets a bit complicated because, of course, in Belgium, I remember one country bans fireworks, the other one doesn't. So then you can just go across the border and buy them. And then during Corona, I have no idea how it works during Corona because, of course, at the moment, I think you can't go to Belgium without having a test. And you can't have a test every time you cross the street. So, I don't know how that works. But
that would be really testing.
Yeah. And if the border goes through your house. Yeah. But yeah, during the First World War, the Dutch were neutral, and the Belgians were occupied by Germany. So the Dutch built a fence all the way around both towns to try and stop anyone breaking their neutrality. But this didn't really work because obviously how can you keep people out through a fence? It didn't work out. So it became a hub for smuggling and rebels and rebellions. And then during the Second World War, the Germans obviously occupied both the Netherlands and Belgium. So they tried to enforce Dutch taxes on everybody in the town, which caused chaos because the Belgians were like, no, we're Belgian, we're not Dutch, we're not paying Dutch taxes. So it's a very interesting place. Lots of people there have dual nationality because it's just a lot easier because it's so complicated. I recommend if you're in the area and if you're in North Brabant, you come to Eindhoven or nearby, have a pop there and then you can go to two countries in one and take all those fun photos over two borders.
Excellent. Oh, that sounds really interesting actually, and I can imagine the frustrations there. It must it is a bit of a nightmare because it's only like in the last year when it really is very obvious about the fact that there's another country, completely different rules. I mean, the whole point, of course, with the EU is that there was open borders and you didn't have to worry about these kind of things. But then this last year, it's been forced upon us all. And that is a nightmare when it comes to the testing and masks. Can you, can't you, should you, shouldn't you?
There are other towns in the Netherlands with a similar problem. Like there's Bals on the border with Germany.
Of course,
that's not all in one country.
No, absolutely.
So there's similar problems along other borderlines.
Interesting stuff. Tracy, you're back with us.
Hurrah, thankfully. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I reset something and I'm good to go.
The internet gremlins probably came knocking on our door as they do. We're coming towards the end of the show. I think it's probably time for a few titty bitties before we disappear. Tracy, what have you got for us?
Yes, well, I have a couple of things for you this evening. First of all, I want to give a little shout out and a big thank you to the lovely Lucy from Mead Maastricht. Now, last week, Saturday, I finally joined a Mead Maastricht tour in the city.
Oh, lovely.
I know. I spent several very pleasant hours with the lovely Lucy, and she was very kind to arrange a sort of catered tour for the group that we were with. Very interesting. Now, I know we talk a lot about Mead Maastricht on the show, and they're regular guests, a fabulous partner of ours. But all of that aside, as a neutral, it really was a cool morning. Lucy knows her stuff. We know this already, but I can confirm she really does know her stuff. I prayed to the weather gods, so we had some beautiful weather. We did a fabulous tour of Maastricht, and I'm living proof that whether you're new to the city or if you've been here many years like myself, we all left learning something new. So there was a couple who were new to the city and myself and Dave who are here 10 years, and we all left with some new knowledge and very inspired to book another tour. So just a little personal shout out to Lucy and team. If you are looking for a historical tour of the city with specific areas, please do give them a look and check out Meet Maastricht online and book your tour. Next to that, another local company, Space and Material, who is kind of spearheaded by the lovely Naomi. They're working in connection with the Haywinkle, which is quite close to the Freithof here. Now, very exciting is Space and Material are back again offering some workshops here at the Haywinkle. One of them is coming up next week, Saturday, which I am attending myself. So I've been there before to do a sort of art thing, but do check them out because Space and Material, they are now offering some new workshops and events that you can attend. Normally in the weekend, it's usually from 2 to 5, for example, and it's things like artwork, book binding, working with felt to create stuff, very creative stuff. So do check them out online and have a look. There may be something coming up in the coming months that sounds interesting for you. There is a fee involved, but it's quite minimal, and really what you get back, it's really definitely worth it. So that's something else to check out. And lastly, I'm going to start a new segment. Normally we have Tracy's Titty Bitties, but I'm going to introduce Tracy's Tasty Titty Bitties.
Oh, sounds a bit saucy.
It does sound a bit saucy. I just want to give a shout out every week to a different restaurant here in the wonderful city of Maastricht, which is sort of the culinary capital of South Limburg, really. Mm-hmm. And there's many restaurants, many of them now are open again. You can go inside and eat, so you don't have to just do takeaway or order in. You can still do that, of course. Last week, Friday, Dave and I returned to one of our most favorites here in the city, which is the Wen Chao Chinese restaurant, just over from the station here in Maastricht. So if you're looking for fabulous dim sum, some great dishes from various Cantonese, Indonesian type influences, this is definitely the place to go. Be sure to book. Not only because it's Corona time still, but they're also really popular. So they do book out quite quickly. So check them out. And that's the Wen Chao, just over from Maastricht Central Station. And that's definitely a place to consider to pass by if you fancy some tasty treats.
Fantastic. Lovely stuff. Well, there you go. We have sadly come to the end of the show this week. It's whizzed past already. We've been talking about left-handers. We had the guys from the Loft on. We've got
elephants.
Elephants. We've covered everything. We've covered everything as we like to on the show. So thank you very much for joining us. We will be back again next Thursday. Have a lovely weekend. It looks like the weather's going to be reasonable. So hopefully we'll be getting outside, enjoying the weather, or maybe just sitting on the patio with a little glass of patio wine. My favourite. Cheers to everybody.
Or beer, or craft beer. That is it. And a last reminder, if you've got nothing to do on Saturday the 14th, the mass cleanup is happening. So keep those in mind. Still looking for volunteers. I myself will be there on Saturday helping out at Eisder Bemden, and looking forward to stay tuned for an update next week.
Oh, we're going to have so many photos from Tracy. She's got lots going on, Matt. I feel that we're quite boring. But we'll find something to do in the next week, I've no doubt. So have a lovely week, whatever it is that you're doing. Enjoy the sunshine. We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for joining us. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
And we're done, I think. There's Adam. Yay!
Fantastic.
We did it. Hurrah!
Tracy, what happened? You disappeared at one point.
I know. Well, I have earpods connected back, and he was going out, and he put in his own earpods, so that overtook my earpods, and I could see popped up, Dave has connected. I was like, what the fuck? So I had to take your earpods out, and then come reconnect. Oh my God. It's a curse. So that's what I was. So I had to just get up.
Where's she going? I thought maybe you could have had a big sneeze coming or something.
I thought you were. I was like, oh dear.
Nothing dramatic at all. I just had to shout down the stairs.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything was fine. I think the boys kept chatting anyway, so no one maybe noticed. So I'm in a small screen at that point. But yeah, there was a bit of a drama with the earpods. So there we go.
There's There's always something. Always something. Oh, excellent. Okay, well, good stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, Adam, you've got to go and be sociable with your guest.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, that wasn't the plan actually. It was it's always sucks to be roped in last minute, but thanks a million for helping us out. So
you're a star.
Indeed, I was just calculating. It's like literally a 5-minute walk from our house. So I tell you, Dave and I might, and I've worked in a pub. I know how to pull a beer, so I'm all set.
There you go. See, we're going to be going in there like the experts. Stand back, everybody. Let's show you how it's done.
No, but really cool. Very nice guest. So that was a fun chat. So yeah, awesome.
Excellent.
Okay, cool.
Okay, guys. Well, have a good week. Thank you again, Adam. We'll see whoever it is who's going to be here next week between you and Philippe.
I'll be in the UK next week.
You're going to be in the UK next week, of course. Yes.
So, we might.
I should still be able to join.
Okay.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, that's good stuff.
See how
okay.
All right.
Okay. Well,
have
keep
a great
us
weekend,
informed. Guys. Enjoy your tapas, Trace.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's just arrived, so I'm off down to have some tapas, and I'll do the post anon.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. And somebody called Reedy has gone, hello, love. And
okay. Okay.
They love us. That's great.
Keep us posted. Peace out. On that note.
Okay, but lovelies. Bye for now.